Daily Freak Out with the mic on this time. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. Not streaming live today, but that won't make any difference because no one ever watches live and no one ever comments. And so it doesn't matter. That's the fun thing. This morning I was putting together the Patreon page for the show, and I was putting together a few things and stuff. And I remembered that even though I'm going to set the prices pretty low to start with, no one's watching anyway, so I doubt that anyone will watch on Patreon either. But that's fine. You've got to start these things low and slow and something else. I don't know. Today we've got a few things to talk about. We actually are going to talk a little bit of sport, which is going to be fun. We've got a little bit of distortion in the headphones, so I don't know what's going on there. We've got a new record of the day, or record of the week, which is going to be Chaz and Dave's Knees Up. That's right. Oh, look at that camera angle. Oh, that's a terrible camera angle. Why is it doing that? I think I need to press that button. There we go. But that's Chaz and Dave's Knees Up, Jamboree Bag and number 2. We're going to have a listen to that a little bit later. We're going to get a better camera angle here for the news. We've got a little bit of sport to talk about, and I'm not really much of a sport guy, so I don't really going to talk about the individual aspects of the sport. We're going to talk about the overall thoughts about sport and stuff like that. We're going to talk about something that I've mentioned before on the show many years ago, or many weeks, many months ago, but something about Wi-Fi that's getting even scarier. But the future is looking more and more video game-like as we speak. As well as some computing stuff that just makes no sense to me whatsoever. And if you're watching this and you know about computers, then I'd like your help to try and understand exactly what's going on. In fact, let's go straight to that subject right now. 768 gigabytes of cheap Intel Optane DIMM memory sticks used to run 1 trillion parameter LLM on a system with a single GPU. Local Kimi K2.5 install achieved roughly 4 tokens per second. I'm not sure what any of that means. I don't know. I've got no idea. I have in the past tried to get into a bit of memory upgrades and stuff. I used to have a working old Apple Mac tower. I still have an Apple Mac tower, but it's no longer working. It is dead, and I just don't know what to do with it. I've got to get rid of it soon. And so I've started looking into these kind of things and thinking, oh, we'll update the memory, we'll update the RAM, update stuff like that. And I love that aspect. It's an aspect, I think, of computing that people don't deal with or don't think about as much anymore. I don't think we realize that computers are technically components that we can add and subtract from and stuff, especially like at the moment I'm using iPhones and iPads to do everything, and you can't get into these and do stuff with them. Nice broken screen. I've actually got a new case coming today to protect this phone because it is starting to break. I got a break on the front, I think. Yeah, very small break, very unnoticeable small break on the front just the other day. So I've got a case coming for that. But computers, especially when you look back at the history of computing and the original versions of it and stuff, it was very much a build your own components kind of thing. And I really like that. And I think we should do more of that. And so this kind of stuff is very fascinating to me. Now, apparently this Redditor caused a stir by coaxing a workstation build using Optane PMEM DIMMs as RAM to run a 1 trillion parameter LLM. And I've got no idea what any of that means. So if you're watching this and you know what that means, can you please let me know? What I'm assuming the person has done is they've used the basic building blocks of a computer to generate a massive amount of computing power within a small frame. It's like putting a massive engine in a tiny little car. I assume that's what, like putting a V8 in a Mini. That's what we're talking about here, I believe. Central to the headlining feat was the Redditor's sourcing of 6-octane PMEM sticks. The discontinued memory format was designed to bridge DRAM SSD divide, while the 768 gigabyte of Optane does indeed offer far lower latency than the best NVMe SSDs. It is still 2 or 3 times slower than DRAM. I don't know who DRAM is, and I don't know what DRAM's got to do with any of it, but that's what's happening there. There's all the details for anyone who knows these kind of things better than I do. Have a look. As I said, let me know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what any of this is, but I think my analogy of V8 in a Mini is the correct analogy, because that's what it sounded like based on that. I read the article. I went through it and I tried to understand it, and I didn't quite understand it. I think I need to do some searching and internet research and learning to find out what a lot more of these things actually mean, in order to understand the intensity and the amazing nature of that feat. But for now, I just have no idea. So I can't go into it any more detail or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play today's record of the week. Oh, and I've knocked the needle and it's gone right over there. Why does that sound so weird? I don't know what that sounds like for you listening at home. That something's amiss here. Anyway, it's just sneeze up. It's all right, baby, I'm right. You won't wanna go to bed tonight. Come round and have fun. Come on, you lads, and all alone and listen up to me. I've just been down to Rye House and had a jolly spree. Me and 24 of us enjoyed ourselves so grand. When Mother Rugged made us stop in every bleeding pub. Oh, far out. I don't know what that is. Sounds kind of cool. Oh, that is fantastic. I'm loving the fact that is... Okay, I've got no idea what was causing that, and I apologise, because this is the most professional show on the internet, obviously. In the future, if this show's ever successful, this will be the time when the people who watch these episodes deserve more and more love and affection. As I said, thinking of starting up the Patreon soon, so be ready. It's not going to be expensive, and I plan to make it so that the people who sign up early get a lot of the benefits in the future. This record has got a intense list of songs on the back here. We heard a little bit there of Come Round and Hear My Gramophone. And there are so many songs here that I don't actually think I don't recognise any of these names. And I don't think they're all going to get that much different. And I don't know, and here's the other wonderful thing, that I don't know much about Chaz and Dave. All I know is that they're a bit of a joke or an easy joke on the internet, on TV shows and in English culture. Oh, why is that not working? There we go. So professional. I get the feeling that the premise of them is that they're two guys playing at the pub and everyone's just having a sing-along and having a drink, having a sing-along. The songs are a bit naughty, the songs are a bit playful, that kind of stuff. Based on the Google search right now, Chaz and Dave are an English pop rock duo formed in London by Chaz Hodges and Dave Peacock. They were most notable as creators and performers of a music style labelled Rockany, which mixed pub sing-alongs, music hall humour, and boogie-woogie piano, and pre-Beatles rock and roll, which is true. I saw a film clip or a YouTube clip of them doing a song with Lonnie Donegan, who is a skiffle performer who was influential in the skiffle music, which was pre-rock and roll, an English form of music that influenced the Beatles and many other English performers. The Beatles originally were a group called the Quarrymen, who classed themselves as, or have been regarded as, skiffle. So that's the vibe that we're going for here on Chaz and Dave's Knees Up. I get the feeling there is a chance that this may bite me in the ass, in that this album might not be as unknown as the one right there. Oh, there's the point. You got to do it in mirror, so it's weird. Dr. Dollywell from last week, which is now available entirely on YouTube. You can listen to the whole album on YouTube if you would like, because it wasn't on there and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I put it on there. I'm very pleased with myself on that one. It's done a little bit more successful than any of my other videos. So if you're interested at all in the numbers at the moment state 383 views for, that's the short version. So the full version has got 39 views, which is still doing well considering. You can buy this album on eBay for $22.65. That's not pretty. There we go. So this is the Chaz and Dave's Knees Up from 1983. This album is as old as I am. This album is 43 years old. It's just ridiculous. There's 33 tracks on side A, apparently. I assume that these have been on the records. I don't know if you know, but they can make it so that it's really dynamic. So imagine the groove in the record that the needle goes in. It can be really dynamic and big, or it can be really small and compressed. So I assume that we've got some pretty damn tight things. There is also absolutely no gap between each track. So that's what's going on there. Shop One Vinyl. This is available only on Discogs. This is only available from a place in the United Kingdom for £11. $20, I think that said a second ago. And I can't. There's no information on this one. It's interesting that it's not even a the main picture isn't even the actual album cover. Oh, actually, I think I've looked at the wrong one there. That was the wrong one. I take it back, guys. I take it back. So sorry. Chaz and Dave's Knees Up Jamboree bag number 2 is what we're actually looking at here. It's a similar amount of tracks and everything on the list, and the shopping possibilities. There we go. You've got £1.99, £8, £1, £2. So this is not an expensive record. This is a fairly cheap record here. 1,000 people have got it. 11 people want it. I should put it into my... Wonder if I should put it into my collection or not. There it is on cassette for £3. So yeah, plenty of options there if you want to buy it. at all. Is there any more information? No, just technical information here. There's some more Chaz and Dave there. Chaz and Dave's greatest hits. Jamboree bag number 3 there. All good stuff. And we'll be back to that a little bit later. I'm not a huge sports guy. I find that the problem I have with sports, and it's not really a problem, but it's a problem with getting into sports and being obsessed with sports and loving sports, is the lack of satisfaction in that I'll get into it, I'll get to know it, and I think it's a classic ADHD type thing. I get into it, I get to know it, I like it, I enjoy it, and then it becomes a bit same. One of the issues I went through a stage of being really into mixed martial arts and really loving mixed martial arts, and I still do quite enjoy it, but every fight they build it up as the greatest, the biggest, the best fight. And I'm like, well, that's what you said last time. And then you have a fight that lets you down, and you go, I don't care. Just recently, Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano was on Netflix, and I actually paid for that. I spent $10 whole paying for that. And it went for 5 seconds, and it wasn't that surprising the way it went, because Carano never had a ground game in the first place, and it's been 17 years since she fought, and Rousey had a great ground game and did exactly what she always does, the exact same thing that she's done in every one of her other fights. And so it really was not that surprising, but it was very disappointing, because I was hoping maybe we'd get a little bit of action. Like Gina looked like she hadn't done any training for ground game defense. It literally looked like she had just done dance moves and stand up and lost a bunch of weight, and that was it. And they both came up from the ground, and they were all happy smiles and faces, and it was like, come on, guys, like, that was a letdown. As much as it was like, great, dominant victory for Ronda, she probably feels really good now, it was just like, this is ridiculous. Gina looked like she didn't train any kind of ground game or takedown defense and just got steamrolled. And you sort of expect that as someone who hasn't fought for 17 years and never had that in the first place. You expect that. That's not that surprising. But again, they build it up as, the biggest fight, the better. And so I just got over it. Same deal with football. Aussie rules, to be exact. But recently, and there's absolutely no point me showing you this article here because Friday night, I think it was, or Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? It's one of the nights recently. There was a football game here in Australia, and the AFL were playing, and one of the players, Scott Pendlebury's milestone 433rd match. We sort of worked out, we did a quick analysis of how long he's been playing, and apparently this is like the longest an AFL player has played, like the most games ever. And we worked it out that it's roughly like 20 games a season. So each 100 games is 5 years. Something like that. 25. Let's say 25. So let's say it's four seasons for every 100. So 4 times 4 is 16. So it's 16 years, 17 years, something like that this guy's been playing. And he did, from what I could see, from a visual standpoint, he didn't look like he'd been playing he didn't look that old. He still looked like a young fella. So whatever he's doing, good on him. But one player literally just turned awkwardly and blew his ACL. And it got me thinking about how athletes are just doing a job. Their job is to go play football, perform, whatever, but it's just a job. It's just this thing that's like, it's not what I built it up as a kid of these amazing people that are role models and all that kind of stuff. They're just people doing a job. And you can literally, in your job, turn awkwardly and pop your ACL. And that's crazy. That's just so. I don't know. How do you justify that as a sport, as a job, that you can hurt yourself to the point of being unable to walk for that kind of a year or so of being out and not being able to work? And what kind of insurances do you have on that kind of stuff? He had some bone bruising in the knee as well, apparently. And apparently this guy's had injuries before, like that have thing. Whereas the other guy on the team has played 433 matches, and you got to assume that he hasn't been injured very much in order to be able to do that. It's like, what? That's not fair. Life's not fair, is it? And so that's part of the reason why the way these things go is part of the reason why I just don't get addicted to sports the way some people do. You've always got new players coming in and out. The team's not the same. The coach changes. The admin changes. The team can be a completely different team and organisation from year to year, yet you somehow barrack for them and support them. And then one player can play for almost every team in the league, and apparently he's your best favourite person and stuff. It's confusing to me. I don't get it, but I really hope this guy recovers well, because that's kind of scary and unfortunate, and you don't wish that on anyone. You don't want them to get hurt and to have a bad time like that. But people who do have a good time are Chaz and Dave. There's no doubt about that. Now it's not working. Now it's not working.
Chicken dinner, everybody will be there. On up and happy are we. We know what your sympathy. We're alright, we're all so merry and bright. We get drunk on every Saturday night. On up and happy are we. Well, that will change presently when I get to regular job.
So that's like, I mean, I think we heard a pretty good transition there from one song to the next, and that's how they can get away with having so many different songs on each side. But you can imagine, like, it's a style of music that I understand. I understand the appeal. I get why people do it or listen to it. Because that's about, and I've got my beer and I sing along and everyone thing, and it's I get it. I understand the appeal. I'm probably not going to listen to it very often. I may add it to the collection of albums that I'm trying to sell and get rid of to anyone, or give away to anyone who listens to the ends of the actual episodes. But yeah, Chaz and Dave's Knees Up, Jamboree Bag number 2. That's the album of the week. In serious news, though, ordinary Wi-Fi can now identify people with near-perfect accuracy. Scientists say ordinary Wi-Fi routers may soon be able to secretly recognize and track people with near-perfect accuracy. The summary, the source is coming from the Karlsruher Institute for Technology. I assume that is German. It then says right underneath that, scientists in Germany have demonstrated a startling new form of surveillance identifying people using nothing more than ordinary Wi-Fi signals. By analysing how radio waves bounce around a room, researchers can effectively see and recognise individuals even if they are not carrying a device or even if their phone is turned off. I assume this means that video game style technology, where soldiers in the future are going to always have goggles on and be looking at life as augmented reality, and even police are going to use this, because what police officer doesn't want that kind of to be able to see through a wall and see where people are in a room when they're breaking into a house for whatever reason, legitimate or otherwise, whether it's a screw up or if it's a real situation, hostage situations, that kind of stuff. Soldiers and police officers are going to wear augmented reality glasses They're going to walk around and they're going to go click, 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 show me see-through wall. I was recently replaying a little bit of Hitman, the game, and in that you can press a button and you can see through the wall a little bit, and you can see my target is over there, and they're coming around the door, bang, they're around the corner, bang, I shoot them. This is exactly what that is. That's the kind of thing that they're creating here. Luckily for me, I don't have a Wi-Fi router. I work everything off my phone, but I assume that the phone is using some kind of Wi-Fi Bluetooth to connect to my other devices here, and that's doing the same kind of thing. So it's just crazy. It's crazy technology that they're developing around the world, and I don't know what benefit does this have to normal people, to normal everyday life. Like a lot of AI and stuff, I don't like the way AI is taking especially graphic things or even music, but I like it when I do a search and I get a little computer, an AI blurb of answering my question. That's AI that I like. Or I recently heard someone say that they get AI to do a summary of things for them. So they'll get a paper come in and they'll go summarize it for me. Bang. Okay, cool. And that's not a bad thing. I think that's pretty good. That works well. But what benefit does this have? The team says the technology could transfer everyday routers into quiet monitoring systems that operate without attracting attention. Is that good? This technology turns every router into a potential means for surveillance. If you regularly pass a cafe that operates a Wi-Fi network, you could be identified there without noticing it and be recognized later, for example, by public authorities or companies. So again, it seems like this is purely for law enforcement. I was hoping to ignore that sneeze, but I couldn't. It really is going to the future. Whoa, I had a big shiver there. The future seems to be that you cannot get away from this kind of technology and this kind of surveillance, and we're stuck with it because I don't see how anyone's going to get rid of their Wi-Fi router. So this is going to happen. The interesting thing from my personal perspective is I daydream about going camping and stuff and van life and that. And I think about taking or buying a Wi-Fi router for that and wondering if I can have satellite, Starlink or whatever, that can actually connect whilst I'm traveling. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. I wonder if that Wi-Fi router will work where they'll be able to go, okay, he's standing next to the car. He's walking around the car. He's in the car. That kind of stuff. Will cops be able to go, hey, that van's been parked there for 2 days. Is there anyone in it? Use their Wi-Fi network to get into it. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen in the future. All I know is that Chaz and Dave...
So get up on your feet, all get up and form a ring, enjoy yourselves and dance and sing, slap bang, here we are again, so get up out your seat. Hey. Ladies, don't be frightened, I'm an Indian, I come from Timbuktu, 3, 4, 5, 6. The day I sailed away, it was a Indian. Be careful, girls, I'm full of Indian tricks. Oh, walla, walla, walla.
I think that was a little bit racist potentially there, so we might leave it there. I feel like that Chaz and Dave have probably got a lot of very dodgy and very questionable aspects to their to their performance and stuff like that. So we might be touching on some weird stuff there. But anyway, that's the end of the episode for today, Monday the 25th of May. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Daily Freakout. If you've got any thoughts or anything like that, please put them in the comments. Let me know. Should I give up now and never do this again and find a real job? Or should I continue and just change things up a little bit? Should I be more prepared? Should I do whatever? Send me a headline if you've got one and you'd like to see it on the show. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow. Oh, I've got to turn the sampler back on because I didn't have it ready. Very professional. This is why it's the best show ever.